Hey everybody, it's Caleb from the Southern Fried Geekery podcast, coming back with one of those new comic book day, what do I call them, side dishes. So for those of you who don't know what this is, each week I put out a little short video and go run through my pull list as a kind of an extra to the podcast that I'm a co-host on, which is the Southern Fried Geekery podcast. Hopefully you listen to it. If not, we drop new episodes every Sunday. You should 100% come check us out. You might like it, man. There's 5 of us on the show. There's some really good conversations about comics, about pop culture, stuff in general. It's a really good time. It's a really good show. We hope you are enjoying it. And if you are, you should come be a part of our Facebook group that we have. That we're on there. We're talking about all kinds of different stuff. Stuff we talk about on the show, stuff we don't talk about on the show. Just in general, it's a fun place. But let's talk about the pull list, because it was a big week for comics. There's a lot of stuff to read this week. Good week for comics, bad week for wallets, as I like to say, because I overspent. Don't tell my husband. He'll be alright. First and foremost, the thing that I am the most excited about, hands down, the thing that is going to be the most memorable part of today, and that is House of 10 came out. Jonathan Hickman, Pepe Larraz, just destroying everything and like out of the gate. Like I've already read it a couple of times, just knocking it out of the park. Marte Gracia on the colors, Clayton Cowles doing the letters. We've never seen the mutants like this. Never, like Hickman, man. There's so much in that book. It's ridiculous. Obviously, it's going to be something we talk about on the show at some point. Tune in for that. It'll be good times. Another thing that I'm really excited about, and hopefully you pick this up, if you're a Marvel fan, I think you're really going to enjoy this, and that is the history of the Marvel Universe. Number 1, this was written by Mark Waid, Javier Rodriguez on the pencils and the colors, Alvaro Lopez on the inks, and Joe Cataranga doing the letters on this. I haven't read it yet, but from what I understand, it's just a history lesson. It's a retelling of what we know about Marvel in the timeline, especially since they've shifted it. It's going to be an introduction to the great pantheon of Marvel characters. Some people that we will know, some people we've never seen before, some people that we haven't seen in a long time. I'm going to spoil something for you real quick. Check that out. You see that? Two Gun Kid, man. I think that's who that is. Actually, no, that's Kid Colt. So they're going to be getting into some of the Western stuff. I'm excited about this, man. It's Mark Waid, and if you know anything about Mark Waid, that dude is like an encyclopedia when it comes to comic knowledge. His brain is a computer. He's a walking spreadsheet. Oh, not sponsored by, but should be, Yingling Black and Tan. But yeah, you need to check that book out, especially if you're a Mark Waid fan, because he's going to blow some minds. Spinning out of the War of the Realms, the event that Marvel just wrapped up, you got Valkyrie, Jane Foster Valkyrie, to be more specific. Jason Aaron co-writing with Al Ewing, which, if you're reading Immortal Hulk, that should be a big plus for you to pick up this book. Cafu and Jesus Abertoff on the covers, man. Dude, Jesus Abertoff is an amazing colorist. He's doing some really good work. It never fails if I happen to pass up a letters page and go back and see who did it, just because I'm impressed. There's a good chance, there's a high percentage that it's going to be Jesus Abertoff. Other times it's usually Alex Guillermez, this year specifically at least. But yeah, man, so Jane, she's a Valkyrie now. I'm curious to see what they do with her. And it's Jason Aaron and Al Ewing, so between the two of them, it's a well of creativity. Shuri number 10 is out today. Needy Okafor, Rachel Stott doing the pencils. Looks like we got Carlos Lopez and Joe Sabino. Carlos Lopez doing the colors, Joe Sabino doing the letters. Shuri has been it's had some peaks and valleys. It's been a fun book. It's a side book for what's going on in Ta-Nehisi Coates' Black Panther. I actually like this book better than Black Panther. It's my personal opinion. The cartooning on it's been really vibrant, really fun, really young. if you're a younger person, I think you might really dig that book. Lots of music references, lots of just goodness involved with it. Same could be said for this next book, which is the Magnificent Miss Marvel. This book's being written by Saladin Ahmed, being drawn by Minkyu Jung, Juan Velasco on the inks, and Ian Herring is doing the colors. It's Juan Velasco with Minkyu Jung doing some of those inks. This is not a character, like, I did not follow this character when G. Willow Wilson first kicked off with her, but what they have done with her in books like Champions really made me lock in. She's such a fun little character, and so there's such a depth to her character in what she deals with in her personal life, how she deals with being a superhero, her relationship with her parents, which they're exploring a lot of that in there, her relationship with her friends and family, and her religion. There's a ton of it in that book, so if you're not picking that up, you should. It's a fun book at Marvel, with one of the rising stars of their catalog of characters. And as far as I know, this book is wrapping up this little mini-series, Age of Conan Belit. This is coming-of-age story of Belit the Pirate Queen, which, if you know your Conan history, it's the woman that one of the main women that Conan fell in love with, and that really affected that character. So it's kind of cool to see how she became who she was. Teenie Howard is writing that. Teenie Howard's a spectacular writer. It's good to see her penning more books at Marvel. She needs to be, as far as we know, with the news spinning out of San Diego, she's going to be writing one of the X books. That's awesome. Kate Nemechek, Scott Hanna, Andrea DeVito, and Jason Keith round out your creative team on that book. Fun times, man. High Seas Adventure, pirate stories, seeing that character really come into her own. If you know a little bit of history with her, it's kind of neat to see how she stepped out of her father's shadow and became her own figure, and carrying the legend that goes with that. Let's jump to DC. The biggest book out of DC this week, in my not so humble opinion, is going to be Sean Gordon Murphy's Batman, Curse of the White Knight. This is, of course, a sequel to Sean Gordon Murphy's Batman. I keep saying Sean Gordon Murphy. Sean Murphy. I think he just goes by that now. Matt Hollingsworth on the colors. Haven't read it yet. Don't really know a whole lot about it. Obviously, there's some to do with Azrael, with White Knight. He really hit a home run with that book. I expect big things out of this book. Hopefully, it doesn't have that center story slump that White Knight has, because White Knight was excellent to begin with. Really enjoyed it. First 3 issues, then it dipped hard, but then it came back at the end. So it's always worth sticking around, especially on something like that. It's set number of issues. So we'll see. We'll see what he does with that. With Sean Murphy, you can always hope for really amazing car drawings, because the dude loves automobiles and does some spectacular work drawing them. One of my favorite books out of DC right now, Martian Manhunter. This, of course, is Riley Rossmo on the art, and if you think I don't know if you can see it or not. If you look over this way, I've got some Riley Rossmo art right there on my wall. I think that was it. I think it's this one down here. There we go. Pointing. It's a learned skill. Steve Orlando is writing this. I've been talking about it for a hot minute. You guys have heard that on the show. No need to cover that ground again. Wonder Woman 75. This is written by G. Willow Wilson, an artist who goes simply by Zermanico, if I said that right, is doing most of the art on this book. Jesus Marino does a little bit of the other art, along with Vicente Cifuentes, Ramiro Farado Jr. is on the colors, and Pat Brosu doing the letters. And again, we're keeping going. If you haven't been reading this book, Wonder Woman and some of her friends have been sucked into an alternate dimension that is a world created by her mother where Diana never existed. So what is the world without Wonder Woman? What is the world without that love and compassion that she brings? well, that sisterhood and that strength. What does that world look like? Well, read G. Willow Wilson's Wonder Woman, and you can find out. And it's very well scribed. The art's mid-range. He's not blowing me out of the water, but he's not. It's nothing to turn your nose down at. Fun book all around. It's for a midline Wonder Woman book. It drew me in, and I'm not historically a big Wonder Woman lover of that character. Although my opinion on that is changing as I'm currently reading the George Perez omnibus on his Wonder Woman work, and Jesus, I love that man. He's a legend. Let's see what we got. Freedom Fighters. This is issue 7. Robert Venditti. Looks like we've got Bruno Redondo on the art, Adrianus Lucas on the colors, and World Design on the letters. Been preaching this book for a hot minute too. I think the art in this has been spectacular, although this is not the artist who has been on the book full time. And as I'm flipping through here, it's fine, but it's not. Because I don't think this is the artist that's been on here full time, if memory serves right. We're going to give it a shot. We're going to see what's going on in this little retelling. Also, got to mention something. I've noticed this in the back of DC's books. Can you tell what this is? Can you tell what it's for? If you zoom in real close, you might notice the word Preacher in really tiny letters. This is a Preacher ad for, season something of... the final season starts everywhere on 8/4, which is cool if you're a Preacher's fan. I mean, sad that it's final season, but really? This is your advertisement for Preacher? That little bitty word? Whoever designed this graphic should be ashamed. It's garbage. Don't. No. Why is this on the back of my book? I mean, I'm down with advertising a TV show on the back of the book. It's no biggie, but that in little bitty font, really? Somebody got paid for that, y'all. It could have been me. It could have been you. You could have gotten paid for that, and you probably would have done a better job. Shitting on somebody's shoes there. So as I look at it again on this next book. This next book being Detective Comics, number 1008. Just really fun stuff. Carrying on in the Bat universe. Looks like this is either going to be a one and done story or it's starting an arc called Greetings from Gotham. It's Peter Tomasi, it's Doug Mahnke, Jamie Mendoza on the inks, Dave Barron on the covers, and Rob Lee on the letters. Look, there's a lot of folks out there that don't dig what's happening in the main Batman story. Whether that's not a judgment, whether you like it or not, these are more classic Batman stories. It's more classically written Batman stories. And that might be what blows your skirt up. Who knows? And if it is, wonderful. I personally love what Tom King is doing. It dipped hard there with that Nightmare arc, which we talked about on the show, but this last issue, it just raced right back up the hill again. So, good for it. That's all of DC. Let's jump over to some independent stuff. And we'll start with Boom Studios and Bone Parish, number 11. Cullen Bunn, Jonas Scharf, and again, Alex Guimarães doing the colors on it expertly. It's New Orleans, it's crime, it's magic, it's drama, it's supernatural, it's a little bit of horror, a little bit of everything. He's kind of throwing the kitchen sink at that book, and it's fun stuff. I likes it a lot. Over at Image, we got Redneck, and this is Donny Cates, Lysandro Ethrin, and Dee Cunniffe. The series as a whole, it's not my favorite right now. I think Donny Cates' business and his responsibilities at Marvel have really taken away from the quality of that book. I personally think that. I think the story arc that he's currently on could be better. We'll see how it goes. I want to stay on the book because essentially that book's, to me, it's in its inception, it was tailor-made for somebody like me, right? It's goth, it's vampires, it's Texas, kind of rednecky, hyper-violent, makes fun of the South, very self-aware. So on paper, I should love it, and I have up until, I don't know, the last, that's issue 22, so maybe the last 5 issues, 6 issues, really hadn't done it for me. basically after they had the wedding that they had, where it ended up being kind of like the Red Wedding. But a book that is doing it for me, and a book that hits hard, that I just adore and really love what they did with the first 2 issues, is Killer Groove from Aftershock Comics, made by Ollie Masters, Eon Marin, colors by the great Eisner-winning Jordi Belair, and Hassan Asmatmi Alehu on the letters. Essentially, character in this book, kind of a drunk guy, in and out of honky-tonks and bars, not such a great guitar player, gets approached, kind of gets paid off to kill somebody. What he finds out is, when he kills, he gets in a groove. Like, if he kills, he can go out and just be an amazing songwriter, an amazing musician, an amazing performer. How does he maintain that? How does he do it without getting killed? Who does he kill? Why does he kill? All stuff he's got to function with and figure out himself. Fun little story. Aftershock rarely disappoints. I think you should check that out. You'll enjoy it. Also from Aftershock, one of the best psychological horror stories, and one of the best books that is Garth Ennis at his height, is A Walk Through Hell. This is issue 12, and drawn by Goran Suzuka. Ivy Scorsina and Rob Steen wrap out that team. Just when you think you know what Garth Ennis is doing, when you've got him figured out, you've got him pegged, he flips it and just brings a whole new level of really insanity to that book. You never know you just do not know what's happening. It's so cerebral, legitimately psychologically terrifying, just blows everything near it away. The art's wonderful. It's very much got that indie style that I'm prone to liking. Yeah, that's some of the most, like, that's good Garth Ennis. He's not trying to be funny. He's not poking, like, he's not being hokey. Just writing a very, very terrifying story for the sake of being terrifying. Glow, Summer Special. This is just fun, man. This is just done fun comics. Devin Grayson, Lisa Sterrell, Trina Farrell on the colors, letters by Christina Meiser. They play with those characters. Again, dumb fun comics, and sometimes that's all you need out of your comic. Really, really great characters, just having a blast. The creators having a blast with them. If you like the Netflix show, pick up these Glow comics, y'all. Middle West, Scotty Young, Jorge Corona, John Francois Malou, Nate Picos. One of my favorite books in Image. Jorge Corona, outstanding artist. It's one of those books I can't really tell you to go for the art. I can't really tell you to go for the writing, because they're both top-notch work. It's one of those things where it's one of my favorite books on the shelf. Love the story. Love where he's going with it. Again from Aftershock. Dark Red. Tim Seeley, Corn Howell, Mark Englert, Marshall Dillon. Political redneck vampires with Nazis. That's all I can really tell you about that. It's knuckin' futz. And that's all the single issues I have, but it's not all I've got. I also picked up 2 graphic novels today that I'm really excited about reading. One came out last week, and the LCS, they got shorted, so I didn't get my copy last week, but I did on this week. They Called Us Enemy, the story of George Takei when he was in internment camps. Actually in Arkansas, actually near Monticello, where I lived for 4 years, so I've actually seen the place where he and his family were held illegally. Similar vein to what's happening right now on our southern border, which is sad. We haven't learned these lessons. Can't say that I'm looking forward to reading that book, because it's not going to be an easy read, but it's knowledge. Knowledge is power. Stories mean something, and it's one of the best uses of the graphic medium that you'll have. The other, and last, certainly not least, is Brian Fye's Fire Story. Wildfires in Colorado decimated his land, his house, his neighbors, everything. It was all destroyed, and it's how to deal with that, how to rebuild, how to live your life, how to deal with trauma. It's a memoir, so these are real things that happened to Brian Fye's. So I look forward to reading that. I flipped through it earlier. The cartooning is beautiful, beautiful work. You can see, doing a lot with color. It's not photorealistic. Cartooning is excellent. And that's what, there's all kinds of dogs up in my life right now. So I hope you guys go get you some great comics. Go enjoy them. Come check out our Facebook page, listen to the podcast, and we will talk to you again, hopefully on Sunday. So we will see you soon. Y'all take care, go forth and love some comics.